Hi, my name is Juan, and this is what my new game looks like right now. And this is how it started. I've been making video games for 8 years now, and one of the most important things I learned after all this time is focusing on gameplay before anything else. In the past, I used to make art, particles, sound effects, and all the other fancy stuff for every new feature in my game immediately after implementing it. Cool, I made buttons for a rhythm-based game which infinitely scroll to the left and react to players' input. It's high time to draw sprites for the character. Okay, now some art for the enemy. Now the UI elements. Oh, and obviously I need a super polished skull image and an epic sword instead of a simple line. This attitude often resulted in projects that I would later abandon due to them simply being not fun to play. Or even worse, I would sometimes think, yeah, it's clearly bad, but I had already spent so much time on this, so I guess I have to finish it. Had I made a simple prototype like the one you see me making in this video, I could have solved the gameplay issues, or at least figured out that the game isn't worth finishing a lot sooner. As a result, I would have lost a lot less work and precious time. So, how do you figure out when the prototype is finished, and when can you finally allow yourself to polish your game? Well, I don't know, it depends on you, your team, and your specific project. But here's what I did for Turret Rampage. First, I implemented the 3 main weapons I had in mind: rockets, white circles, silver shackles, yellow triangle, and an earthquake, yellow explosion. Then I made enemies which can be destroyed using the aforementioned weapons. In this game, normal enemies can be dealt with by sending a single rocket right into their face. Anything that looks like a bunch of floating pieces, or anything that has a blue color in this prototype, is considered a ghost. Rockets go through these creatures and can't harm them in any way. To defeat ghosts, you first have to turn them into normal enemies by gluing them up with a pair of silver shackles. Then there are burrowers, alien bugs who move underground. To lure them out of hiding, you have to use a seismic attack. With all that out of the way, I tried to approximate the size of art I needed for the game's backgrounds and enemy lanes. I considered things like, will I be able to notice the enemies coming from the side of the screen quickly enough? How many enemies can fit on the screen? How small or big can I make these enemies if I want to have 3 horizontal lanes in my game? Would this game look readable on a smaller screen, for example on Nintendo Switch? After that, I gave the turret some health and made it possible for it to die. But health on its own is a pretty boring mechanic, so I decided to make it a little more interesting using the principle of multi-purpose design described in this video by Game Maker's Toolkit. I made it so that every time the turret takes a hit, the entire side of the screen it was attacked from gets cleared. It makes sure that the player doesn't get overwhelmed and die by taking 3 hits in 1 second, but instead has a chance to recover. Then I made enemies for various combinations of 3 attacks I mentioned earlier, with no more than 2 attacks required per enemy. Finally, I implemented a simple pause menu, and that marked the end of this game's prototype. At this point, it felt pretty nice to play, and I was certain that I could turn this project into a fun little game. And that's it for today. In the next devlog, I'll show you how I replaced the placeholders from this prototype with the new art I made. I hope I'll see you there. Farewell.